Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Now I'm gonna be reviewing Superman Returns. I just finished watching it, and I gotta say, I would say it is a great movie. I did enjoy it very much. It's not like what a lot of people say. It's like, oh, it's the grim, Superman movie. Yes, it has its dark moments, but it doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable, and doesn't mean that there aren't any fun elements. It does pay homage a lot to the original Superman movies, 1 and 2. It has the the opening credits of the first and second Superman, although modernized a bit. Um, and also, I think that I think the cast um, did a good job of what they were given. Not that not that um, I think that they had a lot more potential, but I think that they were a little bit restricted. I think because Brandon Ruth, I think, did what he can to be Christopher Reeve's Superman. Problem is, though, he did not add enough to where it's like, Brandon Ruth is playing his own Superman. You know, like for example, you can see, for example, Heath Ledger playing the Joker, and he's playing homage to, um, you know, Jack Nicholson's Joker and a little bit of, Mark Hamill's Joker, but not to the point where it's not his own. He still made it his own. That's the problem that I had with, Brandon Routh's Superman. Not saying that what he did was bad. I think the Clark Kent that he did was just, just a little bit, I wouldn't say better, but just a little bit more, unique than other Clark Kents portrayed because he was less of a bumbling idiot. He was less of, you know, oh, I can never be Superman. Uh, he had that sort of a normal everyday guy rather than overdoing the disguise rather than being like, oh, I'm never Superman. And being the complete opposite of Superman. No, there are some points where he's like a little bit airheaded, but not to the point where like he's totally stupid. And I like that. I really enjoyed that. And his Superman moments are they are awesome. Some parts are like really breathtaking where he's um, going out into beyond the clouds and just absorbing the sunlight. I love that. I love that moment. I love the part. This is one of my favorite parts where he's in outer space and he's just taking that time and just listening to the world, whatever problem is, whatever sort of catastrophe is going on. He's just taking it in, and he's like, I gotta save those people. And he's just uh, just how much concentration that it takes for him to be like that, and you feel like the weight of the world is resting upon his shoulders because he's got to save whatever person it is out there that is like in need of help. And the earlier movies were like, oh, a kitty is stuck on the tree and I gotta save it. No, he's not like that. It's like, you know, um, a guy robbing a store and he's holding the clerk hostage. He saves that person. It is crazy stuff, where he's like saving multiple people and it's broadcasted around the news. Um, Now there's something that I kind of had a problem with. Not so much, but had a kind of problem with. Now the age. Yeah, I know a lot of people have talked about this. The age factor. Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, she did a good job as Lois Lane, but she looked too young. I think she was around 20 something, as well as Brandon Ruth. Now, Brandon Ruth being Superman, I have no problem with that because Superman is meant to be, this sort of person that ages slower than a lot of than humans. So I didn't have a problem with that. The problem I had was Kate Bosworth, her being, so young. She looked so young. Mm, but it didn't take a lot away from the movie because she was in the movie for little, she was in the movie for like, about half of it, but not so much where it's like, oh, she's there all the time. No. Mostly it's like, Clark Kent. Um, I love the homages that were, saluted to in this movie. Like I said, the opening credits. I love the fact that Marlon Brando, he somehow was in this movie. They used, um, archives to be for him to be put in the movie. Um, I love how, um, Miss Kitty was playing the role of Miss Tessmacher, but she she wasn't really, well, she was in the second one, so this movie really ties in with the second one. That's what it's supposed to be. It's like there's like this 5 year gap between that, and which makes it even more redundant because after the ending of Superman 2, the way that Lois looks like and Superman looks like, they don't like they've aged a lot. If anything, they aged backwards. So that aside, it is a great installment in the franchise. I do recommend it. If anybody wants to, watch a great Superman movie, this is one of them. Um, and I would give this movie a 7.5. Um, Probably I would put it like 7.75, but I don't think that it's that close to the first two movies. I would give it like a 7.5. I do think that it's well done. I love the score. I love the geez, what was his name? The guy who it was a composition of the Superman theme that was, I can't remember who made that theme, but I do know who recomposed it. That was John Oatman. I do love his material, but the guy who, good God, I forgot what his name. John Williams. Yeah, John Williams, the guy who made the original Superman theme. Um, and it was done in a way that it was an homage, but also with a little twist. It's a little bit different. I like it, and I like how throughout the movie there are like different types of uh you know remixes, if you will, of the theme. So yeah, I did enjoy that. Now another thing that I wanted to point out in this movie that I really want to put it out there, because in the first two movies, I was saying, the thing that bothered me the most was how does his outfit, how does it, not take damage? How does not it does not rip? It does not. It takes a lot of abuse. Well, apparently, there's something that I forgot about, and as I was reading about the Superman mythos, what he did was he took the his outfit was actually made out of the material that was given to him by his father when he was sent to Earth. Like his costume was made out of his blanket and little pieces of his rocket ship was made into like his belt and his boots and stuff like that. So yeah, hmm, it kind of explains a bit, not so much. You can say that, yeah, the inner material of the ship was used, and as well as the blanket, but yeah, the blanket doesn't burn. Still, there's like this little bit of stuff that makes you wonder. But okay, let's say it's like this very um, you know, very revolutionized piece of material that is just made in Krypton. That's his outfit. Okay. And here's something that while I was watching the movie, I was like, how does that happened. And that was during the surgery where the surgeons, they just ripped open his outfit. I was like, oh, whoa, how does that happen? How do they do that? Then I watched the movie again. Well, actually, that part, again, mostly because that was that was the part that I was focusing on. When I watched it the second time, I was busy doing other stuff while having it in the background. But once that scene was going on, I watched it again. I was like, okay, what happens? What happens here? And then it turns out he's like, oh, okay, I think I got it. That's what he says. Oh, okay, I think I got it. So perhaps they found a zipper or some sort of button to open up the suit. Can't really say, but it kind of was out there, that hey, it was just a little something in there where it's like it just throws you off guard because they don't, focus on it so much where it could have just passed you by and you wouldn't think twice about it and you'd be like, well, wait a minute, how does that happen? And you don't think of the logical conclusion. So I had to rewatch it again for me to, come up with the with my theory that maybe the surgeon found some sort of way to open it up, like a zipper or something like that. So I can let that slide. Another thing that I had a problem with was how was Superman revived? How was he revived? He was not exposed to the sun. He was in a room, a closed-off room, and second, when he came out, it was at night. So how does that factor in? How did he regain his strength? Um, that is why I would have loved if the ending was. I know it would be cliched, but I think it would give this movie a better ending. Is that once he the kid goes to him and then she's like he's your son and he feels like he's dying and he sort of comes back from his coma. He says to Lois and he's like I've always loved you and stuff like that and she's like, well, you know what, he's your son. And then what happens is the kid is just in shock and he's like, he's my dad, and then he runs off. I know it would be cliched. Then afterwards they have some sort of connection. Superman and his son, they have some sort of connection where Superman is speaking, and the kid is like, he's outside of the building, but he can hear Superman because of his super hearing, and he's like, I know I know you're shocked about this, but that doesn't make Richard any less of a father to you. But I have to say that like what Jor-El says to him, um, I will see my life through yours, and the father becomes the son as the son becomes the father. That emotional speech, and that's when the kid would rush back in and grabs Superman and flies off to to outer space where you know Superman just regains his energy through the sun, and then he would just pull out that piece of kryptonite, and then that's where he would bring back the kid to Lois, and then he talks to her, and then they have that ending speech. Then Superman flies off. So yeah, that's how I would have it. I don't think that would be, though, despite the scene that I just mentioned, it doesn't mean that it would make it so good that it would just, blow off the first and second movies. I think that they should have done much more to, there's a lot more out there for them to have done to be that better of a movie. They should have cast someone else to be Lois. They should have, or at least made her look a little bit older. Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, I like it, but I've had enough of Lex Luthor. There should have been another villain. And well, third, I think that well, Lex Luthor, Lois, new villain, three things. Fourth thing, Perry White should have been recasted. I don't like Perry White. Perry White in this movie sucks. I did not like him. He did what he could, but no, that's not Perry White to me. Now, a person that I would have casted to play Perry White is Elliot Gould. I love Elliot Gould. I loved him in Ocean's 11, 12, 13. I used to, I actually, when I was a kid, I used to watch him on MASH. I did like his character, but not so much where I'm like, oh my god, this is the best show ever. No, I liked his character. I always liked, Elliot Gould. Also, I really liked him in Friends. So there you go with that. And I think he would have been a perfect, character to play Perry White. And other than that, I like Jimmy. He was a good enough comic relief. I did enjoy what he did. Not too much. He wasn't on the screen too much, but what he did was, this is what comic book movies are all about. You gotta have comic reliefs in the movies. You shouldn't be all serious. You should have some points where you're like laughing and you're like snickering or whatever. You should have points where you're like, okay, I need a moment to regain my strength because oh my god, all the scenery, everything, I got to take that all in. I also like the part where they recreate the flying scene rather than it being oh we're just going all around the world, even though that I enjoyed those parts. Rather than that, what they did was they were talking and Lois didn't realize she was floating, and I love that. I love also the fact that Superman floats rather than just flies off. Always just flies off. I love the parts where he's floating. And there was a little bit part of origin story going on in this movie, but not so much. There was just like a little bit of a flashback. I like that because it's been a while since they've had a Superman movie, and you got to really re-educate the audience and actually, you know, if there are any newcomers to the Superman mythos, would actually, kind of know what's going on. And actually, I would have loved if the part where he makes a suit was in this movie. But that's just nitpicking. Anyways, 7.5 for the movie, and I would recommend it completely to any of those who are new to the Superman, movies. If you want to start, start with this. That's okay. Start with this, and then go back and watch the first and second one, because those are much better movies. Not saying that this is bad, but they are great movies. So yeah, with that being said, rate, comment, favorite, and if you haven't, please subscribe. And I will be back soon reviewing Man of Steel. I know it's been a while, but I have seen it 3 times. So me reviewing it I've already reviewed it. It's just a matter of time till I upload it. So once I upload this, I will also upload Man of Steel, my Man of Steel review. So until then, take care. Yeah. So goodbye.